they are singing do la la la.
Yeah.
You know, who's going to remember that stuff?
In the history of country music, Loretta Lynn is a big name. She not only made a living through her talent, but also influenced many people to discover their abilities. In this video, we will look into her career, abandoned house, partner, children, net worth, and tragic death. So, if you have ever heard about Loretta, here is your chance to know everything about her. Loretta Lynn's abandoned house and other properties. Loretta Lynn's life story is deeply connected to the places she lived, from her humble beginnings in a Kentucky holler to owning one of the most popular country music estates in America. Over the years, several properties associated with Loretta have sparked public interest, particularly due to rumors of abandonment or disrepair. At this point, though, we should establish that the original home where Loretta grew up is not abandoned. On the contrary, it has been preserved as a tourist site. Managed by family members and local guides, the Webb family home remains one of the most visited spots for Loretta Lynn fans. Visitors can take guided tours that offer a peek into her early life, including the coal stove, handmade furniture, and rustic surroundings that inspired her classic hit, Coal Miner's Daughter. Though the cabin is simple and remote, it is well maintained and treated with respect by both family and fans. It is not a museum in the traditional sense, but functions as a preserved historical site, providing a powerful contrast to her later life of fame. In 1996, at the peak of her career, Loretta Lynn and her husband Oliver Doolittle Lynn purchased a large property in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, about 70 miles west of Nashville. The estate, known today as the Loretta Lynn Ranch, covers approximately 3,500 acres and served as the family's primary residence. The main house on the ranch is a 14-room plantation-style home built in the 1800s. Loretta lived there for decades, raising her children and hosting guests. The property grew into a country music destination, with a museum, gift shops, RV park, a concert venue, a Western town replica, and even motocross tracks. It became a place where fans could experience a piece of country music history firsthand. Her main mansion remained closed to the public for a while, but was not abandoned. It was later opened for limited guided tours, with select rooms restored to reflect the era when Loretta lived there. Even after her death in October 2022, the Loretta Lynn Ranch continues to operate as a fully functioning tourist attraction and family business. It is managed by her children and grandchildren, especially her twin daughters, Peggy and Patsy Lynn. So, where did the idea of abandoned or neglected homes come from? Over the years, rumors have circulated online about abandoned houses tied to Loretta Lynn, including old homes on the Hurricane Mills property. Some of these stories come from urban explorers and vloggers who have filmed decaying cabins or outbuildings on the estate. However, many of these structures were never used as primary residences. Instead, they were guest homes, older staff quarters, barns, or unused event buildings. While some buildings on the estate may appear aged or unused, especially in the vast backwoods areas, they are not significant to Loretta's personal life and are not classified as abandoned in any official capacity. The family has addressed some of these rumors by clarifying that parts of the ranch are under constant renovation and development, and that the main mansion, museum, and public areas remain maintained. Public fascination with Loretta's properties continues to grow, especially among younger fans discovering her life story. The ranch at Hurricane Mills has become a pilgrimage site, much like Graceland is for Elvis fans. Tourists can visit the Loretta Lynn Museum, explore her personal wardrobe and awards, walk the same halls she lived in, and even camp on the grounds. Since her passing, the Lynn family has reaffirmed its commitment to keeping the property open and functioning in Loretta's honor. Renovation and preservation efforts continue, ensuring that her home and legacy will remain part of American country music history for generations to come. Loretta Lynn's net worth and estate. At the time of her death in October 2022, Loretta Lynn's estimated net worth was around $65 million. Her wealth stemmed from a variety of sources, including music royalties, book sales, property holdings, and the revenue generated by her Loretta Lynn Ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. When it comes to music royalties and record sales, Loretta Lynn was one of country music's best-selling artists, with over 45 million albums sold worldwide. Throughout her career, she released 50 studio albums and a range of compilations and singles. Her hit songs like Coal Miner's Daughter, You Ain't Woman Enough, and Don't Come Home A-Drinkin' continued to generate substantial royalties through digital sales, streaming services, and licensing. Her song catalog was valuable, and she earned significant income from royalties on radio play, streaming, and the use of her songs in films, television shows, and commercials. These royalties continued to flow to her estate following her death, with her family overseeing the management of these earnings. Although Loretta Lynn's touring schedule slowed significantly in her later years due to health issues, she was still performing well into her 80s. Before retiring from the road, she earned a substantial income from concerts, live performances, and festivals, with her tours often drawing large crowds. Even after retiring from regular performances, the revenue from special events and tribute concerts continues to add value to her estate. Loretta Lynn's autobiographies and books also contributed to her wealth. Her memoir, Coal Miner's Daughter, which was released in 1976, became a bestseller and was adapted into a critically acclaimed film that helped solidify her as a true icon. She wrote several other books, including Still Woman Enough in 2002 and Loretta Lynn, My Story, both of which provided additional income through book sales and film rights. Now, let's talk about property holdings and Loretta Lynn Ranch. The Loretta Lynn Ranch is 3,500-acre property in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. This place constituted most of Loretta's wealth. The ranch became a key tourist attraction, with guided tours, a museum, an RV park, and an annual motocross event generating significant revenue. Loretta invested heavily in the ranch by transforming it into a place that was both a family retreat and a business. After her death, the ranch remains one of the most important assets in her estate, and it continues to generate income from tourism and events. More than that, Loretta also owned several other properties, including a home in Nashville and various investments tied to her career. These assets were carefully managed over the years, contributing to her lasting wealth. At the time of Loretta Lynn's death, ownership of key assets, such as the Loretta Lynn Ranch and her music catalog, was in a complex but well-organized state. Loretta had built a trust to manage her estate, ensuring her children and grandchildren would continue to benefit from the revenue her music and properties generated. The rights to her song catalog were under the management of her estate, with royalties flowing into the family's hands, either directly or through management companies. Her family, especially her daughters Peggy and Patsy Lynn, continues to oversee the operation of the ranch, as well as the promotion and sale of her music and brand. As for the distribution of the estate, Loretta Lynn's heirs include her 6 children and several grandchildren. Her children, Betty Sue, Jack Benny, Ernest Ray, Clara Marie, and twin daughters Peggy and Patsy, were all beneficiaries of her estate, even though specific details regarding the distribution of assets are kept private. Even after Loretta Lynn's death, her estate continues to generate revenue from her music catalog, brand licensing, and tourism. Songs like Coal Miner's Daughter and You Ain't Woman Enough remain popular in country music circles and are often covered by other artists. Additionally, her biography, film adaptations, and merchandise continue to attract fans and contribute to her estate's ongoing income. The Loretta Lynn Ranch is still a central asset in her legacy, drawing thousands of visitors each year. As the family continues to manage the ranch and its various revenue streams, the property will likely remain a key source of income. In summary, Loretta Lynn's estate is built on a strong foundation of music royalties, real estate, and family-managed assets. Marriage and personal life. At the age of 15, Loretta married Oliver Vanetta Lynn, also known as Doolittle or Mooney Lynn. The couple married on the 10th of January 1948, after knowing each other for only a month. Shortly after their marriage, they moved from Kentucky to Custer, Washington, where Doolittle had found work in the logging industry. Loretta became a housewife while raising their children and managing the household. By the age of 20, Loretta had given birth to 4 children: Betty Sue, Jack Benny, Ernest Ray, and Clara Marie. Despite the demands of motherhood, she began to explore her musical talent at home. Doolittle recognized her natural singing ability and encouraged her to pursue music more seriously. The marriage lasted for nearly 50 years until Doolittle died in 1996. Despite its longevity, their relationship was deeply troubled. Loretta openly discussed the problems they faced in both her songs and her autobiography. She described Doolittle as unfaithful, controlling, and often abusive, especially when drinking. He was known to cheat on her repeatedly and could be violent during arguments. Loretta once said that he hit her, and she hit back. Their marriage was far from peaceful, but she always insisted that she loved him and that he had a good side as well. Alcohol played a significant role in many of their problems. Doolittle was a heavy drinker for much of his life, which contributed to his erratic behavior and temper. Loretta often referred to his drinking in her interviews and in several of her songs. Despite the emotional and physical strain this caused, she stayed in the marriage. In her words, "He never hit me one time that I didn't hit him back twice." Her candidness about their fights showed the harsh realities she faced as a young wife in a difficult relationship. Even with the hardships, Loretta credited Doolittle with launching her music career. He believed in her talent before anyone else did. He bought her first guitar and pushed her to perform. He drove her from town to town to promote her first single, I'm a Honky-Tonk Girl, and encouraged her to write about her real-life experiences. Loretta often said that without Doolittle's early support, she wouldn't have become a singer. Their relationship directly influenced many of her biggest hits. Songs like Don't Come Home a-Drinkin', Fist City, and You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man were drawn from her own experiences dealing with infidelity and domestic struggles. These songs connected deeply with working-class women who were going through similar issues. Despite all the ups and downs, Loretta was married to Doolittle until his death on August 22, 1996, at the age of 69. He died of heart failure and complications from diabetes. Loretta was devastated by his passing and later said she never truly get over it. She admitted that even though their marriage was rocky, she missed him deeply and struggled with loneliness after he was gone. His death did her a number as she became more reclusive and focused heavily on her family and spiritual beliefs. She continued to perform and record music, but her pace slowed in the years that followed. In interviews, she spoke fondly of Doolittle by choosing to remember the love they shared rather than dwell on the pain. Truly, Loretta and Doolittle's marriage was far from perfect, but it was central to her life and legacy. It shaped her as a woman and as an artist, giving her the stories that made her music real, raw, and relatable. Motherhood, her children, and tragedy. Loretta's 4 surviving children, Ernest Ray, Clara, Peggy, and Patsy, have all been involved in music to varying degrees. Ernest Ray Lynn occasionally performed with his mother on tour and appeared on stage with her at different points in her career. He kept a relatively low profile compared to his famous mother, but remained involved in family affairs and music business decisions. Ernest Ray has had legal and personal troubles in the past, but stayed part of Loretta's life and estate. Clara Marie Sissy Lynn also pursued a music career. She recorded a tribute album titled Songs of a Coal Miner's Daughter, which featured covers of her mother's iconic songs. Sissy stayed involved in preserving Loretta's musical legacy and has been a public advocate for her mother's impact on the genre. The twin daughters, Peggy and Patsy Lynn, formed a duo called The Lynns in the 1960s. They were signed to Reprise Records and released the album Woman to Woman in 1998. The album included several charting singles such as Woman to Woman and Crazy World. The duo received nominations for Vocal Duo of the Year at the Country Music Association Awards. They were active in promoting traditional country music in the spirit of their mother's style. Peggy and Patsy also performed regularly at Loretta Lynn's ranch and sometimes joined her on stage during her later concerts. In her final years, they were among Loretta's closest caregivers and supporters. Loretta Lynn had over 20 grandchildren, several of whom have shown interest in music. Among the most visible is Tayla Lynn, the granddaughter of Loretta, through her son Ernest Ray. Tayla is a country singer who has openly talked about her struggles with addiction and recovery, drawing inspiration from her grandmother's honesty and strength. She performs both original songs and tributes to Loretta's music. Tayla Lynn has toured across the United States, where she often performed her grandmother's classics like You Ain't Woman Enough and Fist City. She also co-wrote and starred in a podcast titled Still Woman Enough, inspired by Loretta's life and legacy. Loretta could indeed be considered a lucky woman because her other grandchildren have participated in family concerts and special events held at Loretta Lynn's ranch, especially during annual fan gatherings. Loretta experienced significant personal loss with the deaths of 2 of her children. Her oldest son, Jack Benny Lynn, died in 1984 at the age of 34. He drowned while trying to cross the Duck River on horseback at Loretta's ranch in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee. Jack had been riding alone when he lost control of the horse and fell into the river. His body was found downstream the following day. His death was sudden and deeply painful for Loretta. She later said it was one of the most devastating moments of her life and that she never fully recovered from losing him. Loretta's eldest daughter, Betty Sue Lynn, died on July 29, 2013, at the age of 64. She passed away from emphysema, a chronic lung condition often caused by long-term smoking. Betty Sue had lived a mostly private life, away from the spotlight, although she was close to her mother. She died at Loretta's ranch in Hurricane Mills, surrounded by family. Health struggles and final years. In her later years, Loretta Lynn faced several serious health challenges that led to a gradual withdrawal from public life. Though she remained mentally sharp and connected with her fans, physical setbacks forced her to slow down and focus on recovery, family, and legacy. One of such terrifying moments came on the 4th of May, 2017. Loretta Lynn suffered a stroke at her home in Hurricane Mills, Tennessee, at the age of 85. Consequently, she was hospitalized in Nashville and received intensive care during her recovery. The stroke affected her ability to walk and speak clearly, prompting her team to cancel several scheduled tour dates and postpone the release of her upcoming album. Loretta's family and management released updates assuring fans that she was recovering, though it was a slow process. She was later moved to a rehabilitation facility and continued therapy at home. Her daughter, Patsy Lynn, later confirmed that while Loretta lost some mobility and speech capacity, she did not lose her mental clarity. Loretta was aware and involved in decisions regarding her music and legacy. In early January 2018, less than a year after her stroke, Loretta suffered another serious health issue, a hip fracture. According to a family statement, she fell at home and broke her hip. The injury further complicated her recovery and made it even more difficult for her to return to the stage or walk around independently. Her daughter, Peggy Lynn, confirmed that Loretta's spirits remained high despite her physical pain. The family emphasized that she was still joking, laughing, and listening to music while recovering. However, it was also made clear that she would not return to touring and would instead focus on writing, recording from home, and spending time with family. Following these multiple health setbacks, Loretta began to retreat from public appearances. Her last full public concert took place in 2016, just months before the stroke. Afterward, she made only limited appearances at private or pre-recorded events. In October 2018, she made a surprise appearance at her birthday celebration concert in Nashville's Bridgestone Arena, titled Loretta Lynn, an All-Star Birthday Celebration Concert. Though she did not perform, she appeared on stage in a wheelchair and briefly addressed the crowd, thanking fans for their support. Loretta continued to release music during this time. In 2018, she released the album Wouldn't It Be Great, which had been postponed due to her health issues. She recorded it before and after her stroke, often from her home studio with the help of her daughter, Patsy, and producer John Carter Cash, son of Johnny Cash. Loretta spent her final years at her Hurricane Mills ranch, surrounded by her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Her daughters, Peggy and Patsy, played active roles in her daily care, while the rest of the family managed the ranch and her music catalog. She continued to write songs, participate in interviews via phone or video, and release personal updates through social media. In a video shared on her official Facebook page in 2021, she told fans she was doing all right and thanked them for their love. In March 2021, Loretta released her 50th studio album, Still Woman Enough, featuring collaborations with other female country stars like Reba McEntire, Carrie Underwood, Tanya Tucker, and Margot Price. The album celebrated her legacy and women in country music. It was her final studio album released during her lifetime. Finally, on the 4th of October 2022, Loretta Lynn passed away peacefully in her sleep at her home in Hurricane Mills. She was 90 years old. Her family released a public statement confirming her death and asking for privacy during their time of mourning. As expected, tributes poured in from across the world. Loretta Lynn was buried on her ranch beside her husband, Oliver Doolittle Lynn, who died in 1996. Her funeral was private and was only attended by close family and friends. Loretta Lynn's final years were filled with physical challenges, but also deep reflection and peace. Surrounded by family and still contributing to music, she remained a strong voice in country music until the end. Following the news of her death, fans and fellow musicians flooded social media with condolences and memories of Loretta. Dolly Parton, a close friend and contemporary of Lynn, wrote, "So sorry to hear about my sister friend Loretta. We have been like sisters all the years we have been in Nashville. She was a wonderful human being, a wonderful talent, had millions of fans, and I'm one of them." Reba McEntire, another country music legend, paid tribute to Loretta by thinking back on her influence. Mama and Loretta were 4 years apart, Mama being the oldest. They reminded me a lot of each other, strong women who loved their children and were fiercely loyal. Now they are both in heaven, catching up and talking about how they were raised and how different country music is now. Artists like Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, Tim McGraw, Sheryl Crow, Casey Musgraves, and Garth Brooks also posted emotional tributes, many of them crediting Loretta for paving the way for women in country music and for staying true to her roots. Country Music Television, CMT, the Grand Ole Opry, and the Country Music Hall of Fame all issued official statements honoring Loretta's contributions. Her impact was praised to the high heavens in various media outlets, including the New York Times, CNN, Rolling Stone, and Billboard. Though the funeral itself was not open to the public, the family later organized a public memorial and celebration of life where they allowed fans to pay their respects on the ranch property. The family also encouraged donations to be made to organizations that support music education and rural healthcare in Loretta's honor. Loretta Lynn's passing was felt deeply in the world of country music and beyond. Her voice, her songs, and her fearless approach to storytelling continue to resonate with people who knew and loved her. Legacy, impact in country music, and influence on future generations of musicians. Loretta Lynn's legacy is a wide one. As a matter of fact, only a few female musicians can hold a candle to her. Her contributions not only built the genre, but also influenced broader cultural movements, particularly in terms of women's rights and storytelling. Loretta was more than just a country singer. She was a trailblazer for women in the music industry. Through her lyrics, she openly addressed the struggles of working-class women, including issues like domestic violence, gender inequality, and empowerment. Songs such as The Pill, You Ain't Woman Enough, and Coal Miner's Daughter showcased her unflinching honesty about personal and societal struggles. These tracks not only connected with women, but also helped break down barriers in a male-dominated genre. Her empowerment anthems resonated with generations of listeners, offering a voice to those who are often marginalized. Loretta Lynn's contributions to both music and culture did not go unnoticed. Throughout her career, she received numerous honors and awards that could make any creative jealous. She won 3 Grammy Awards throughout her career, including Best Country Vocal Performance for Coal Miner's Daughter and Best Country Performance by a Duo or Group for her collaborations with Conway Twitty. Also, Loretta was one of the 5 recipients of the prestigious Kennedy Center Honors in recognition of her lifetime achievements in the arts. This honor celebrated her impact on American culture. Another award she got during her lifetime was the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was awarded to Loretta by President Barack Obama in 2013. Loretta Lynn's influence stretches beyond her own generation. Modern artists such as Miranda Lambert, Dolly Parton, Reba McEntire, Casey Musgraves, and Carrie Underwood have cited Loretta as a major influence on their music. They were mostly inspired by her commitment to honest songwriting, incorporating personal narratives with social issues, and her ability to set a template for many female country artists who followed in her footsteps. Her ability to sing about personal pain and triumph while maintaining a strong sense of resilience made her an inspiration for those dealing with building new careers and identities in the music industry. Loretta's willingness to take on taboo subjects, such as birth control and gender roles, also opened doors for more open conversations in country music. Loretta's impact was also captured in the acclaimed biopic Coal Miner's Daughter, which was released in 1980, starring Sissy Spacek as Loretta. The film, which was based on Loretta's autobiography, portrayed her rise from poverty in Kentucky to stardom and is widely regarded as one of the most accurate and inspiring music biopics. Spacek's performance earned her an Academy Award nomination. Additionally, Loretta's life and legacy have been portrayed in documentaries and media tributes. In recent years, television specials and feature articles have continued to point out her contributions to music, with tributes airing on networks like PBS and CMT. To preserve Loretta Lynn's legacy, several museums and landmarks have been established in her honor. The Loretta Lynn Ranch, which continues to operate as a tourist attraction, is a central point in preserving her history and legacy. The ranch features the Loretta Lynn Museum, which showcases memorabilia from her career, including stage costumes, awards, albums, and personal items that talk about her life's journey. It also serves as a site where fans can explore Loretta's connection to her roots in Butcher Hollow, Kentucky, and her success as a country music icon. Early life and rise to fame. Loretta Lynn was born Loretta Webb on the 14th April 1932 in Butcher Hollow, a small remote coal mining community in Johnson County, Kentucky. She was the second of 8 children born to Melvin Ted Webb, a coal miner, and Clara Marie Webb. Sadly, her father worked long hours in the mines and died from black lung disease at the age of 52. The family lived in poverty, and their home had no running water or electricity. Loretta often spoke about the hardships they faced growing up in the Appalachian region, where money was scarce and resources were limited. In 1953, Doolittle bought Loretta her first guitar, a $17 Harmony model from a Sears catalog. She taught herself to play and began writing songs about her own life experiences. By the late 1950s, she started performing at small clubs and local events in the Pacific Northwest. In 1960, Loretta recorded her first single, I'm a Honky Tonk Girl, with the help of Canadian producer Don Grashy. She and Doolittle drove across the country in their car to personally promote the record to country radio stations. The single gained traction and eventually reached number 14 on the Billboard country chart. Her growing popularity caught the attention of the Wilburn Brothers, a well-known country duo who offered her a spot on their syndicated television show. Through them, she signed a contract with Decca Records in 1961 and began working with producer Owen Bradley, who had also worked with Patsy Cline. Loretta, in 1962, released Success, her first single with Decca, which became her first top 10 hit on the Billboard Country chart. This marked the beginning of her rise in the Nashville country music scene. Throughout the 1960s, she released multiple charting singles, including Wine, Women, and Song in 1964 and You Ain't Woman Enough in 1966. These songs showcased her bold lyrical style and were notable for addressing women's issues, infidelity, and working-class struggles. Her 1966 album, You Ain't Woman Enough, made her the first female country artist to write a #1 hit that she also performed. A year later, she began a long-running musical partnership with Conway Twitty, producing several duet hits such as After the Fire Is Gone and Lead Me On. By the end of the 1960s and into the early 1970s, Loretta had firmly established herself as one of country music's leading female voices. In the 1970s, she released one of her most famous songs, Coal Miner's Daughter, which told the story of her upbringing in Kentucky. The song became a #1 hit and later served as the title for her 1976 autobiographies and the 1980 Oscar-winning biopic starring Sissy Spacek. Between 1960 and 1979, Loretta Lynn charted over 50 top 10 country hits, including 60 #1 singles. She became the first woman to be named Entertainer of the Year by the Country Music Association in 1972. Outro. What do you think about Loretta Lynn? Are you impressed by her fearlessness? Share your opinion in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.